afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to the start of a brand new season series here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel. I guess you could say it's the godchild of the Snickers Cup Series. This is the debut race of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series, and we are getting ready to go racing for 30 laps in the first ever Hersheys Cup Series Great American Race, Daytona 500. 42 drivers are ready to try and put their name in as the very first winner of this prestigious event in this brand new series, and we are going to be introducing them to you right now as Charles Sanford for Retro Racing Enterprises will start on the pole position in the number 03 Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Chevrolet, and alongside of him is the number 99 Steak and Shake Ford Fusion of Levi McIntyre. We're not going to be doing starting grids like I did back with the Snickers Cup Series. Instead, we're going to be going through the field and showing you starting lineup this way. So lining up in the third position is going to be the 18 of Jeremy Jones. Alongside of him is going to be Dylan Poteet. Got Daniel Voiles in the 26 alongside of Mason Wood in the 14. Ryan Acosta will line up alongside of Leon Alvarez. Carson Scott will be lining up alongside of Rocco Twyman in the 11. Emmanuel Hartnett starts in the outside line of Trent Dunham. Joshua Lee in the Quicken Loan Chevrolet on the outside of Austin LaPlante. Michael Norman for Michael Norman Motorsports alongside of Tim Walsh, the 5-Hour Energy Toyota Camry. Anthony McCurry, the only Audi in this series, will start alongside the 44 of Mason Powers. Then you got Dallas McIntosh in the number 16, lining up alongside of the Tampa Bay Race Chevrolet of Jessica Shelton. James Richardson will line up alongside of Joshua Michaels. Noah Cars in the 42, alongside of Cooper Cyron in the number 19. Kyle Matthews in the 09 will line up alongside of Pichu London in the 21 out of Wood Brothers Racing. Joshua Circuli in the 27 alongside the 20 Toyota Camry of Cody Lamas. Seth Cole, the Narnia Chevrolet, alongside of Jake Baskinger in the number 95 Ford Fusion. John Arndt in the number 24 will be lining up on the high side of Grayson Acavito in the number 43. Chris Dowd in the number 46 will be lining up alongside of Sean Galligan, the number 13 for Tweenix Racing. William Brock for William Brock Motorsports in the number 7 lines up alongside of the Dodge Dart of Dylan Young for Young Motorsports. Ryan Madden, the number 88, will be lining up alongside of Kian Eddington in the number 33 Cheerios Chevrolet. Holden Gluba in the Aaron's Dream Machine lines up alongside the second Dodge Dart out of Young Motorsports, J.T. Bryant. And in the final row, you've got the 48 of Blaine Keys and the 25 of Benjamin Miles. A lot of stories coming into today's race. One of them being a lot of these drivers partook in the Snickers Cup Series. And now moving over here to the Hershey Cup Series, what will that say for their success over here? There are a lot of veterans that have raced in a lot of NNSCRA events, but there are a lot of drivers that haven't had as much experience. Number of drivers that I recognize in this field took part in the NRSL TGIF's Fatal 4-Way Truck Series, including Ryan Madden in the 88, Holden Gluba in the 55. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they do now with a taste of cup racing here in a full 36 race schedule. We also have some former Daytona 500 winners back from the Snickers Cup Series, such as Charles Sanford and Trent Dunham, as well as Levi McIntyre. So this is going to be very interesting to see what they do in the start of this season, as we're about to get command to fire them up.
Drivers, start your engines!
Now, as the season progresses, we may see more teams formulate and try and make races here in this series. There were a total of, I believe, 47 teams that tried making the Daytona 500 here today, but only 42 cars could make the grid. drivers that will try to qualify for next week's race at Rockingham, UK, and failed to make the Great American Race include the 4 of Daniel Bouchard, the 17 of Tristan Folks, the 32 of Stephen Pollard III, the 41 of Sam McMillan, and the 98 of Austin Gipe. They will take part in a qualifying session next week with the other drivers that finished 35th or 36th on down in this race. If you're outside the top 35 in points, you must qualify your way in on speed. There will be a 5-minute practice session at the beginning of every race after this one, in which we will determine the final 7 drivers to make up the grid for each race for the remainder of the season, which means that we're going to have at least a minimum of 5 drivers miss a race each week. So these drivers, their goal not only is to win the Great American Race, but they also want to finish higher than 35th here today to make sure that they are locked in for the starting grid next week at Rockingham, UK. Charles Sanford was the Season 7 Daytona 500 winner. Levi McIntyre was the Season 8 Daytona 500 winner when they partook in the Hersheys Cup Series. Even though the Hersheys Cup Series is pretty much gone, barring Daytona 500 races that take place periodically, I'm probably going to be making a lot of references to that series and make it in reference to what goes on here in this series. A new year, 2016, a new era, a new generation of racing. The very first race of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series is green. We are racing here in the Daytona 500. Charles Sanford going to get out ahead of Levi McIntyre. That may have been planned. Sanford now tucks in front of the 99. And now they both jump to the high side and will offer the drafting help to the 31 of Dylan Poteet. Two-car breakaway at the front of the field. Sanford and Levi McIntyre. 18 of Jeremy Jones there on the inside line trying to get going as they're 3 wide for third. Dylan Poteet in the middle. Mason Wood rim riding on the high side there in the 14. Here comes Ryan Acosta, as well as Carson Scott in the 38. Trent Dunham there in the 1. Poteet puts the crossover move on the 18 of Jeremy Jones, but it's not going to work. The outside line is going to prevail instead as Mason Wood and Daniel Voiles will team up against the Valvoline Chevrolet. And here comes Jeremy Jones with a run into turn 1, but no drafting help again, as Charles Sanford holds the top position. Levi McIntyre trying to hang on to second. Mason Wood there on the high side to help him. There's no friends down low for the 18 who tries to fit his way back in line, but Daniel Voiles is already there, and now here comes Levi McIntyre to the bottom. But Mason Wood's going to leave him out to dry and jump up to the high side to help Charles Sanford again. Now here comes drafting help in the form of Daniel Voiles in the Mercedes-Benz. At the line, Charles Sanford will lead that lap, though. It was close between Mason Wood and Levi McIntyre, and it was actually Mason Wood who got second place at the stripe. One driver is currently dropped to the tail end of the field, maybe in danger of losing the draft, and that is the 55 of Holden Gluba. But it's still early, and Gluba may be banking on the fact that these drivers might wreck. Charles Sanford is waiting for his teammate, or his teammates I should say, to get up here to the front. Closest one right now, Jessica Shelton. Last time by, the 02 was scored 18th, and here comes Jeremy Jones to the inside line. And he's got some friends down there, including a teammate there in the 11, Rocco Twyman. Daniel Voiles down there as well. Can that inside line get something going? Jeremy Jones still to the inside line. They're 3 wide, several rows deep now. Daniel Voiles going to offer the drafting help down low, and Jeremy Jones is going to move to the inside line, and he's going to get the advantage coming out of 2. All of a sudden, they've decided it's time to get racy here. 4 laps into the Great American Race. Charles Sanford got some great straightaway speed on the high side down the back straightaway, but now here comes Jeremy Jones back to the inside line. Let's see who's going to get at the stripe. Will it be Sanford's high side or Jeremy Jones inside? Outside line gets a bit of a run there, and at the stripe by a splitter, it's still Charles Sanford leading that lap. Holden Gluba has lost the pack. And they are almost 4 wide back there. The 21 of Pichu London being put in a very precarious position. Was able to back out of that though. Now has Joshua Securely behind him in the 27, and Pichu London now jumps up into the middle groove just ahead of Seth Cole in the 52. 18 gets put in the middle. Jeremy Jones moved up to the middle line as Daniel Voiles now tries his luck on the inside line, but Charles Samper doing a good job of blocking every lane. And he's been pretty dominant since getting out to the lead. No line seems to be able to get him. He's been more than doing his fair share of blocking, but that time I think he made a little bit of a mistake. It looked like he went up to block Mason Wood. He might have slipped a little bit there, and that allowed Jeremy Jones back to his inside. Tremendous fight in the 18 to stick with it after he got put in the middle by Daniel Voiles. Fought his way back, and now he's trying to get by Charles Samper for the lead once again. Another question these drivers are going to have to start considering is what about pit stops? As Charles Samper now has Joe Gibbs Racing hounding his back bumper on that inside line. Jeremy Jones has his teammate Rocco Twyman in the 11. However, Charles Samper's teammate Jessica Shelton is working her way up here towards the front now there. There you see the Tampa Bay Rays Chevrolet. Tampa Bay Rays play a little further south here in this state of Florida, down in St. Petersburg. The Audi of Anthony McCrory is also working his way to the front. They're going to go 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Rocco Twyman to the inside. Drafting help from Jessica Shelton. Now, I don't think Jessica Shelton's purposely wanting to push the 11 past her teammate for the lead. But when you're here at Daytona, you basically got to move in whatever line is going and just forge your way to the front. And that's what Shelton's having to do here. Charles Samper did lead that lap though, but the question is how much longer can he hold on? That inside line has been forming up many times. He's been able to hold off their advances, but now Rocco Twyman might get some help in that middle line from his teammate Jeremy Jones, and he may have the advantage coming down here into 3. Off turn 4, let's see which line gets the run. My money's on the high side. It's been really good off the corner of 2, and it's good here off the corner of 4. Still by about half a car length. Charles Samper on the high side continues to lead, and he's been very lucky because he's had 2 drivers that have had his back pretty much since the green flag dropped. The 14 of Mason Wood, the 99 of Levi McIntyre. They have stuck to him like glue on the high side, and they've been the reason he's been able to get these tremendous runs out of turns 2 and 4 coming to the line. Still, Joe Gibbs Racing not wanting to be denied. Rocco Twyman moves down low to get the draft off Shelton, moves back up to get the draft off his teammate, and Anthony McCrory almost took a look 4 wide there under Shelton. That would have been treacherous. And again at the line, it's going to be about a little more than half a car length this time. And I'm not certain why our scoring monitor was screwed up like that. It was showing Rocco Twyman had led a lap at one point there, and that is incorrect. I don't know if our monitor had to update itself or what, but there was a bit of a screwy situation right there. I don't know if that scoring monitor error might have scored a lap led for Rocco Twyman, because he has not officially led a lap yet. Right now we do have a driver that has lost the draft, as things still remain clean and green up at the front. Holden Gluba. This is not good for the 55. And I'll tell you why it's not good for Holden Gluba right now, because Holden Gluba with running dead last, that means that after this race is over, if that's where Holden Gluba finishes, Holden's going to be 42nd in the point standings, which means that next week at Rockingham, UK, that 55 may not be in the starting grid if it can't qualify its way in on speed. Jake Baskinger way back here, although I think he may still have the draft off the tail end of this lead pack, but he could be in danger as well. Back up at the front, they are 4 wide. Jessica Shelton put in the middle 4 wide, is going to give way to Anthony McCrory. Smart driving there by the 0-2 as McCrory made it 4 wide for position. And if they had carried that 4 wide situation here onto the front straightaway into the tri-oval, I'm not exactly certain we would have been still green flag racing at this point. And here comes McCrory to the inside, 3 wide for the lead. McCrory, Twyman, and Sanford. Jessica Shelton pushing the 61. Jeremy Jones pushing the 11. Mason Wood pushing the 03. Which line's going to prevail coming out of the corner here? Oh, Shelton looked like she might try going 4 wide on Anthony McCrory, maybe give him a taste of his own medicine. As coming to the stripe, drag race to the line, bouncing off each other is the 11 and the 03. They door banged there, but it was Sanford by a splitter who led that lap. And they are 3 wide, at least 7 rows deep. This is starting to get hairy. Just around nearing the midway point of this race. 3 wide, several rows back. And somehow, some way, by some miracle, they're keeping it together. Pichu London kind of undecided which line he wants to be in, the middle or the inside line. Michael Norman's like, make up your mind. At the line again, this time it's going to be Sanford by a splitter again, just barely over the 11. That inside line does not get good momentum coming off the exit of the corner. Pichu Lund and Michael Norman are going to ditch the inside line now. They jump up to the middle groove, and that leaves Jessica Shelton kind of all by herself. And Anthony McCrory's lost his drafting partners. Inside line's going to start falling back now. Now it's back to Deja Vu. The 11 of Rocco Twyman in the middle line, Charles Samper on the high side, and Samper's going to clear for the lead. That's the first time in quite a while in this race he's been able to look to his left side and see nobody. Before it was the 18, then it was the 11, and then it was the 11 and the 61. Now he's got himself cleared of everybody at this point, heading into turn 1, and he still remains with his alliance on the outside line. Now here comes the inside line with the momentum back. Rocco Twyman found Anthony McCrory, and now they're charging back up here towards the front. And that's the first time off turn 2 the inside line looked like it got a pretty good run. For a moment there, I thought Rocco Twyman might have been clear on Charles Sanford, but not quite. And they're going to go 3 wide for the lead again. McCrory back to the inside. Twyman in the middle. Sanford on the high side again. Sanford's been in the best situation on these 3 wide battles because he's been on the high side, which has always been getting the good run out of turn 4. So he's always been able to get up there to the stripe before the middle and inside line can. And Jake Baskinger has lost the draft. That is bad news for the 95 team. Oh man, but I'll tell you what, they're starting to get racy again, just like they were back around lap 13. They've been able to keep it together up to this point, but we still got pit stops that may come into play in this thing. And if the pit stops do come into play, the way these drivers are all 3x3x3, it's going to be awfully hard for some of them to get to pit road. Coming to the stripe this time, look at Rocco Twyman get a big run through the middle and not quite going to be able to get Charles Sanford at the line. I think Sanford's led every lap so far in this race. And uh-oh. Did I hear what I thought I heard? Yes, I did. The 55 of Holden Gluba is about to be reeled in and put a lap down. And Holden Gluba, going down the back straightaway, is right now producing 185 miles per hour. Topping out at that, the leaders are at 205. That's 20 miles per hour difference. And they're 4 wide back there again. That's the 46 of Chris Dowd. The 21 of Pichu London. The 15 of Tim Walsh and Trent Dunham on the high side. 4 wide coming to the line. Oh, this could be the trouble spot. This could be the wreck that Jake Baskinger needs. Can they keep it together, though? This is somewhere around the 14th, 15th, 16th position on track, just at the tail end of the top 20. John Art moves on underneath. And they're still 4 wide, and they are trying to settle it out, but they still can't. Oh, there goes Chris Dowd! Gets turned off the nose, Pichu London! Trent Dunham spins! And down the racetrack they go. And the caution flag is out. And Anthony McCrory leads it at the line. The 61 got it at the line. That had to be some help from the 55 of Holden Gluba holding everybody up. No pun intended. McCrory leads. Shelton second. Joshua Michael was third. Cooper Cyron was fourth. And Kyle Matthews fought his way up to fifth. But we are under the caution flag. Chris Dowd and Trent Dunham have both had to teleport to pit road. Dylan Poteet, Seth Cole, Emmanuel Hartnett, all avoiding disaster. And oh no, don't start stacking up, please. Seth Cole just ran to the back of the 83, but I don't know if they got any damage or not. I think they might be okay. Just look through the field here, make sure nobody's all crunched up. And that caution came out just a couple laps too late for the 55 of Holden Gluba. Gluba's still going to be a lap down. Looks like everybody didn't stack up. Thank heavens. So when we hit the stripe, we'll have 11 laps to go. Let's see if the leaders are able to make it the entire race on fuel, or are they going to have to come to pit road for maybe a splash and go? Anthony McCrory leading. Looks like Shelton's indicating she's coming to pit road. Cooper Cyron looked like he was planning to come. And McCrory stays out, as does Michaels, as does Matthews. Shelton's coming in. Cooper Cyron's coming in. Sanford's coming in. Is everybody else staying out? Oh my goodness. Everybody else is staying out. The 02, 19, and 03 all came to pit road. We'll be restarting with less than 10 to go. And it looks like it was a gas and go for Shelton. Chris Dowd's actually just left pit road. There goes the 19 of Cooper Cyron, and Sanford is now down and away as well. Sanford gave up, I think he gave up 6th place. Cyron gave up 4th, and Shelton gave up 2nd place to come to pit road. We are under yellow. Trent Dunham's also now left pit road, although he and the 46 are going to both be scored a lap down. Anthony McCrory leads the way here. The question mark is, though, are all these drivers who stayed out going to be able to make it on fuel? Let's take a look at a replay of what brought us under the caution flag here for the first time in the Great American Race. Well, you knew it was too good to last. They had held the 4-wide situation for a little over a lap, but there you see, I think Trent Dunham might have been squeezed up into the wall by Pichu London. Then he bounced off, came down into the 21, who then came down to the 46. Chris Dowd, absolutely nothing he could do. There's Trent Dunham spun around as well. Tremendous job there by Dylan Poteet, Emmanuel Hartnett, and Seth Cole to all get on the brakes and avoid that. Ooh, little bit of contact there in the passenger side door for Grayson Acavito in the 43. And I'm not certain just exactly how hard an impact it was for the 46 and the 1. My suspicion is, though, they were both not able to get the cars refired when they slid down there onto the apron. That's why they had to teleport. And there's the lucky guy, Jake Baskinger, still on the lead lap. That was exactly the caution he needed after he had lost the draft. And as we're back to live action, some other drivers just hit pit road. Baskinger's on pit road, Seth Cole, James Richardson, Leon Alvarez. You got Ryan Acosta, who was on the pit lane. Mason Wood in the 14. Levi McIntyre, Noah Kars. Carson Scott, also on pit road. And there is Chris Dowd that came down, topped off the fuel tank. I think he had a little bit of damage as well. So Anthony McCrory is the leader at this point. But with those other drivers now coming down pit road, the question of fuel seems to be much, much more important than it was a couple laps ago. So Jessica Shelton, Charles Sanford, and Cooper Cyron all decided to come down pit road when they were open the first time around. And that's going to benefit them with the fact that now they gained some track position on these other drivers who just now decided to pit. McIntyre, who started on the outside of the front row. There's Carson Scott, Noah Kars, Ryan Acosta, James Richardson, Leon Alvarez, Jake Baskinger, Seth Cole, Mason Wood, and there is the 46 of Chris Dowd. Let's see if anybody's going to pit this time. And yes, oh my, look at this strategy playing out here. Here comes Benjamin Miles, Tim Walsh, John Arndt, Jeremy Jones, Dallas McIntosh, Daniel Voiles, Michael Norman, 21 of Pichu London. Comes JT Bryant, Cody Lamas, Austin LaPlante, Grayson Acavito, along with Dylan Poteet and Emmanuel Hartnett. And I believe that the lights have just gone out atop the pace car. We're getting ready to go back green. So now the big question mark is from Anthony McCurry back to the Dodge Dart of Dylan Young. They have not come to pit road yet. Are they going to be able to make it the rest of the way? Now the question mark is more so on the 61 of McCrory, the 11 of Rocco Twyman, because both those drivers spent a good portion of this race out in front. And when you're out in front cutting the air for everybody else, you don't get nearly as good fuel mileage. And so these other guys, they may have been able to stay in the draft, be able to conserve fuel, who knows. But for McCrory in the 61 and Twyman in the 11, they cut an awful lot of air for the lead pack, and they've definitely got to be much shorter on fuel than everybody else. So we had about 3 laps of pacing, and under those 3 laps, a number of drivers on each lap decided to come down pit road and top off. There were no tires taken at all on any of those pit stops. So we get ready to go back green. Only 3 drivers off the lead lap, and everybody is still running. The 55 of Holden Gluba, a lap down, starting off 5th in this line because there are no double file restarts now. Trent Dunham and Chris Dowd, the 2 who were involved in the wreck that brought us under this caution, are also a lap down, but they have continued on as well. Top 10 as we go back to green. It's McCrory, Joshua Michaels, Kyle Matthews, Rocco Twyman, Joshua Circuli. Then you got Blaine Keys. Green flag back out. Joshua Lee 7th, Sean Galligan 8th, Tim Walsh 9th, and Ryan Madden 10th. And they're running out of fuel. They are running out of fuel. That's the 09 of Kyle Matthews. He is out of fuel. And they're wrecking. Big wreck. 1 car flipping. That's Matthews. Everybody back here is collected up in it. Galligan is all crunched up. Cody Lamas involved. Pichu London. There's James Richardson. Michael Norman. Everybody back here is wrecked. The caution's going to come out. And these 2 are trying to make it back to the line. I think they're out of fuel. Joshua Michaels, Anthony McCrory, are they out of fuel? 27 of Joshua Circuli could be out of fuel. The 5's out of fuel. The 2's out of fuel. Mason Wood's coming around. McCrory and Michaels are going to try and make it back to the line, though. And they will, just barely on fuel, get back to the line. Oh my goodness. John Arndt's up to 4th. He was 26th last time by. And now the 61 and the 10 are down the apron. They're now out of fuel. Oh my goodness, how quickly things change. Look at your top 5 when the 61 and 10 have to pit. Mason Wood, John Arndt, Trent Dunham, Jake Baskinger, who for Pete's sakes had lost the lead draft earlier on. And then Carson Scott. And McCrory and Michaels are on the apron. They are going to have to try and somehow nurse those machines back to pit road. It was a timely caution, but they were a couple of laps short. Oh man, there is Rocco Twyman trying to get his car to pit lane. Dallas McIntosh all beat up. William Brock, I think, just made it to pit road. There's Sean Galligan's Geico Chevrolet. Kyle Matthews went for a wild ride after he tried to gamble. There's James Richardson. There was another car on pit road. I couldn't tell who it was. It looked maybe like it could have been the 46 of Chris Dowd again. No, it wasn't. Couldn't tell. It had an orange on it. Might have been maybe LaPlante. Oh, no, it was the 44 of Mason Powers. And Rocco Twyman's going to finally get his car to pit road. So as they cross the line, and we will get back to green flag racing, your top 10 at this point. Mason Wood's the leader. John Arndt second. Trent Dunham is actually a lap down. I thought he was on the lead lap in all my excitement, but he's actually a lap down. Baskinger is up to third. Fourth, Carson Scott. Cooper Cyron's in fifth. Sixth place, Jessica Shelton. Seventh place is Ryan Acosta. Eighth, Charles Samper. Levi McIntyre ninth, and Tim Walsh is 10th. Now, we're going to have some retirees after this one. Let's take a look at the stack-up that puts us under the caution flag for the second time here today as drivers gambled and many failed on fuel strategy. So here it was at the very start of the restart. Kyle Matthews just did not get up through the gears. That car was sputtering. There was the 27 on by of Joshua Circuli, the Joshua Lee machine number 5. And then here's where it's just all going to start stacking up. Drivers who were able to get up through the gears. And oh, Kyle Matthews tried to get out of the way, I think. And Sean Galligan was to his inside. There's Holden Gluba sent up the racetrack. Right in front of traffic. And then watch the inside line. There's James Richardson nails Sean Galligan. Michael Norman's going to nail Kyle Matthews. Here's where Pichu London gets involved. The car that flipped over Kyle Matthews, I think, could have been Dylan Poteet. Seth Cole, Leon Alvarez, Cody Lamas. There's Jeremy Jones in the 18, who was up here at the front. Pichu London, the 21. Grayson Acavito, the 43, the 22 of JT Bryant. Emmanuel Hartnett does a nice job driving through the grass to avoid this. And Kyle Matthews' car. Oh, and then a hit from Seth Cole. Man. Hard licks taken there and a wild ride for the 09 of Kyle Matthews. It's actually taken on board. Well, how fitting does it seem that the theme park roller coaster park sponsored car takes a roller coaster ride. Take a look. And there's the shot. And then there's the hit from Seth Cole. Wild ride there for Kyle Matthews, who tried to gamble on fuel strategy, but could not get up through the gears soon enough and just got ran over on that restart. So we have not gotten the 1 to go signal yet, which means we don't know how many laps we're going to have left when we do get back to green flag racing. Mason Wood would be more than happy to have this thing run out under caution, but the likelihood of that is slim to none. We are definitely going to get back green flag racing, but drivers that will not be taking the green, and we got away with nobody wrecking or retiring from the race after our first wreck with Trent Dunham and Chris Dowd. Not so lucky this time. Pichu London's taking his car behind the wall, as has Jeremy Jones. Also out of the race, Daniel Voiles, Dallas McIntosh, James Richardson, Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, 39th, Sean Galligan, 40th. Seth Cole out of the race in 41st place, and Cody Lamas will finish in dead last here today. Let's see if the pace car lights are out. They are out. We are going back green. It'll be 3-lap shootout to decide the Daytona 500. Talk about terrible situations. Jake Baskinger. He had lost the draft. If the thing had gone green to the end, I'm not so certain he wouldn't have been lapped like the 55 of Holden Gluba had been. But the caution with Chris Dowd, Trent Dunham got him back at the tail end of the field. He then decided to come down pit road. He was the second group of cars on the second pacing lap. Got through the wreckage, and he's up here in the third position with a chance of winning the Daytona 500. Also, don't count out teammates here. You may not realize it, but AS Racing right now is running in second and fourth place. The 24 of John Arndt, the 38 of Carson Scott. Those two could work together here in the closing stages, and you still got Retro Racing Enterprises, two drivers, Jessica Shelton and Charles Sanford there, in 6th and 8th place. Charles Sanford has led the most laps today for sure. And they may be able to make something happen here in the closing stages. But Mason Wood's going to be the one that's going to try and hold them all off. Trying to see what other alliances might be able to work. Toyota's up here with the 19 of Cooper Cyron, the 15 of Tim Walsh. You've also got Fords with Jake Baskinger, the 95, Levi McIntyre, the 99. It'll be very interesting to see what kind of strategies formulate here. And Trent Dunham could be the wild card in all this. He is a lap down machine, right now scored in the 27th position. He will not win the Daytona 500, but he may push somebody to the Daytona 500 victory. Here we go then. 3 laps remain in the Daytona 500 race. Mason Wood will get us back underway. Green flag waving once again. John Arndt looking in his rearview mirror, hoping, pleading the 38's going to be there. And here comes the Carson Scott machine to the inside to try and get up there to his teammate in the 24. Ryan Acosta there as well. He's foraging up the inside line. He'll put Baskinger in the middle, 3 wide, with the slower lap machine of Trent Dunham. And here comes AS Racing. John Arndt, Carson Scott, working together as they're trying to get by Mason Wood. Ryan Acosta now to the inside line. He'll put Carson Scott in the middle, 3 wide, as John Arndt is out in front now, leading this race. Here comes Levi McIntyre up the inside line. Here comes Austin LaPlante in the 51, as we've seemed to lose some drivers here in this lead pack. I guess Charles Sanford might not be up to speed. There's a couple drivers not up to speed. The 19's not up to speed of Cooper Cyron. That's what's holding a number of these drivers up. And here comes Ryan Acosta for the top position. But AS Racing is lined up on the high side with the 24 and the 38. The 95 of Baskinger's up there, as well as Mason Wood in the 14. And there's no drafting help for the 78 of Ryan Acosta. John Arndt back to the front. Baskinger gets kicked up to the high side. Levi McIntyre, Jessica Shelton trying to make something happen on the inside line. And here comes some more drivers now reeling the back in. JT Bryant in the 22. White flag displayed. 1 more lap to go. Here comes Acosta to the inside of Arndt. He's got Mason Wood now helping him in the 14. And the 24 and 38 were not really lined up nose to tail. That allowed the inside line to prevail. And here goes Ryan Acosta, clearing for the top position. But Mason Wood now has Levi McIntyre with him. Down the back straightaway, picking their partners. Ryan Acosta now going to try and hold off John Arndt. Arndt doesn't have a drafting partner yet. Now Carson Scott clears Mason Wood. Coming out of turn 4 for the final time. Ryan Acosta is going to pick up the first win of the season. He will win the Great American Race Daytona 500 in the first race of the Hersheys Cup Series. What a job for Ryan Acosta and that entire 78 team. Single car team out of Furniture Row Racing. And they will go to victory lane here in the biggest race of them all. The Daytona 500 belongs to Ryan Acosta. And with that win, could he have locked himself up a chase spot? This season's chase consists of the top 10 in points and 2 wildcard drivers. We're not doing the 16 win and you're in driver chase. So this is going to be very interesting for that 78 team, but a tremendous start to the season. Race standings should be official. Ryan Acosta wins. John Arndt and Carson Scott. AS Racing gave it everything they could here, trying to get one of them to victory lane, but they came up just short. They'll get second and third, though. Mason Wood in fourth. Levi McIntyre started outside the front row. He'll get fifth. The comeback of the race has to be Jake Baskinger in sixth. Jessica Shelton's going to get 7th, 8th place for Austin LaPlante. JT Bryant started way at the back of the field. He'll get 9th, and completing your top 10 is going to be Joshua Circuli in the number 27. Look on down through the rest of the finishing results. Last car to finish on the lead lap was Dylan Poteen in 26th. And then we had a number of drivers finish a lap down, including Dunham, Twyman, Dowd, as well as Joshua Michaels, Anthony McCreary, and Holden Gluba. And then these drivers finished out of the race, and the drivers that are really going to be in danger next week are the 16 of Dallas McIntosh, the 6 of James Richardson, the 3 of Michael Norman, the 09 of Kyle Matthews, the 13 of Sean Galligan, the 52 of Seth Cole, and the 20 of Cody Lamas. They'll be battling Bouchard, Folks, Pollard III, McMillan, and Gipe for the remaining 7 slots in the starting grid for next week's Rockingham UK race. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching here. Looking forward to a brand new season with a brand new series here in the Hersheys Cup Series. Ryan Acosta gets his season off to a bang with the win here today in the Daytona 500. If you enjoyed today's race, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. Here's your full finish results from today's event. Coming up next, you will see your overall point standings heading into next week as we will head across the pond to the United Kingdom at Rockingham, UK. As you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, Off-Flying Racing at its best.